Welcome to another edition of It's a Long Beach Thing. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and like us on It's a Long Beach Thing on Facebook and on Instagram. We have a good show for you today. We have my friend, business owner, and community advocate, I guess I should call you, Kris Gragson. How are you today?
Good, good, Paul. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Hey, thank you for taking the time. I know we've been going back and forth on getting you on the podcast for, gosh, probably almost a year now. So I'm glad we got it set and we're doing it now.
Glad to finally make it.
Absolutely. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Sure. So,
Well,
just to tell
let me ask you the question before you answer it.
okay, ask me the question. Go ahead.
Okay. What's your first association with this great city of Long Beach?
Um, my first association, well, I'm born and raised Long Beach. I grew up in Belmont Shore, went to Lowell Rogers Wilson, Long Beach City College. Love this city. It's been a big part of shaping me of who I am today, and I love getting involved with the city and giving back through various organizations and nonprofits.
Right on. So did you go, you said you went to Rogers?
Yep, Rogers Middle
Well,
School, yes.
you probably went to you probably started at Lowell, right?
I
And then
started at Lowell,
Rogers.
went to Rogers, and then went on to Wilson, and then actually my mom went to Wilson, and my uncles, and then I went to Wilson, my cousins went to Wilson, and then my daughter is going to be a senior next year at Wilson.
So the tradition continues.
Yes.
So you might be too young, but did you go to school with the band of Sublime?
They were a little bit before me, but fun fact, they did play on my block in Belmont Shore. They did a house party before they were famous on right across the street from me. So
All right, on
yeah,
what street did you grow up on?
Pomona Avenue.
Oh, you know what, we had this conversation before because I grew up on Pomona as well.
Yeah.
54 and a half, I think it was, or 154 and a half, something like that.
Okay, you were just a couple houses down from me. I was on 66 Pomona. Grew up there.
Oh, that's cool. So I was right. So you know where the dentist office, the linemen's are. I half a block down from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Right on, small
That's
world.
awesome. Yeah, small town.
Yeah,
I would say Long
I
Beach is
think
a
I was a
small
little
town.
too. I might have been too young to go to that Sublime party, but I would love to have gone to it. What era are you talking? What I'm sure was what had to been early '90s. If
Yeah, it was early 90s. I think it was like 91 or something like that. It was really early 90s.
right on. What year did you graduate, Wilson?
93.
'93. Okay, right. You're the same era as the Saved by the Bell 90210 crew.
Yep.
So you go to Wilson, grow up in Belmont Shore. Where did you go to college?
Long Beach City College.
Let me see, college. Okay.
Then dropped out to start businesses.
Fantastic. So, when you were at Long Beach City College, well, first off, when you started at Long Beach City College, was it more like I didn't know what I wanted to do, so might as well
Yeah,
go to school type thing, or did your
parents pretty
parents say
much
you
are
better go
like,
to college? What was
yeah,
the
parents are like, get your butt, either get a job or get to school or something. So I just kind of, it was just kind of like the next step everybody's afterwards. And I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed making money better. And so one, as soon as some of my stuff took off, I just kind of went down that path. And, you
so,
know, I'm, my daughter's really, I was never really great at school. I was okay, but my daughter's really, really smart. And so I encourage her to go that path. But just for me personally, I'm more of a kind of an entrepreneur. And so, and always kind of been that way. I've always had businesses. I mean, I remember when I was like 10, I would get a buddy of mine and we'd walk up and down Belmont Shore with a bucket and a beach towel and would wash cars every Saturday morning for like $5 a car and
nice.
make enough money to go down to Second Street and get a hamburger, and we were happy.
Probably more than that, right there. If you're $5 a car, I would imagine it was more than that. You would be able to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was and when you were at City College, and the entrepreneur bug was hitting you, what was the kind of that business that brought you out of Long Beach City College?
Well, I was really into aquariums and fish for a while. And so I briefly worked at Petco, and then I moved over to Circle Pet, which is long gone now, but it used to be right by the traffic circle. And I worked there for years. Really enjoyed my time there. Worked my way up pretty quickly, became manager of Circle Pet, ran that store for quite a bit. And when I was there, I started a business cleaning aquariums. So I would go around to people's houses and set up their aquariums and maintain them and stuff like that, and kind of grew that business. And that kind of was like my first taste of running my own business and learning about taxes and all those other things, all those fun things.
So was this aquarium business lucrative enough where you didn't have to work at the pet store anymore, or did
You
you have
know,
both at the same time?
I really enjoyed my time at the pet store, and at the time, they paid me pretty well for being a manager. I was able to, move out of the folks' house, get my own place, and do kind of everything I wanted to do, have sushi whenever I wanted to have sushi and hang out with my friends. And I wasn't looking, if I had to do it, if I could go back in like a time machine, I probably would have put more effort into the aquarium cleaning business and kind of really grew that because I could have really made some serious money. But I was kind of very coasting at that time. I enjoyed going out with my friends, going to Vegas, that kind of thing. And so I wasn't too serious about, putting my head down and really building something at that time. Um, just not as mature as I should have been.
You know what? Everybody needs their fun. So I think that you don't even need to rewind it. I think everything happened for a reason. Probably had a pretty good time hanging out with your friends, 22, 23 years old, you go to Vegas, go to different spots, hanging out with friends. I don't know. I think that it worked out just fine for you. So I don't think you even need to rewind that.
There you go. Yeah. The younger me would totally agree with you. Older me would be like, no, I should have invested more. I would have had more money now, but I'm doing okay now, so I can't complain.
Let's talk about that error. So you were doing the aquarium, working at the pet store. What evolved from there?
Um, so and then I was even interning at the Aquarium of the Pacific when it first opened for a bit, and really working with some cool equipment there, um, in their water quality lab, and I was like really into it. And then um, I went, I kind of had a falling out with the pet store a little bit, and I decided to go into Petco and become management there for the Petco and actually the Long Beach section. So I decided that I was getting older. They had like an owner's son that would really wanted to kind of step into my shoes, and I was kind of butting heads with him a lot. And so I decided the best thing for me would be to move on to something that has a little more opportunity and more money. And so I went into Petco, worked my way up in there for a bit. Really hated that job. I hate corporate. I mean, no, corporate retail to me is just the worst. And health wise and stress wise, that was just like, I was only there, I think like 2, 3 years, but I really felt like the best thing that ever happened to me is I got fired. Got fired from Petco. And that was a biggest blessing in disguise because I was just like over retail, corporate retail. It was just not my thing. You get great ideas and they don't want to hear it. They want to run those places like a supermarket and they want to run it like a machine. And if you're on the floor, the difference between corporate offices and the people that are actually on the floor is a huge thing. I see the same thing with my wife that's a teacher. Like, and probably shouldn't get too much into this, but like district and actual teachers, the admin and the difference between admin and teachers, they just don't know what's going on in the classroom, just like Petco doesn't, senior level Petco does not know what's going on in the stores. They may think they do, but the reality is if you're not working it on a regular basis, you don't know what's going on and that kind of thing. So I did so much better when I got back into aquarium service with a buddy of mine that was doing it, and I was helping him. And then I've always been drawn to computers. I got my first computer when I was 18. I've always been on the internet. I've always, you know, been coding and doing stuff with computers, super computer nerd. And my buddy that was having his own aquarium service that was actually he was really growing it and doing really good. I mean, he was taking care of Beverly Hills clients. Like I'm talking mansions with huge fish tanks and stuff. So I had a great client list and he was growing it. And so I created a website for him, and in 1 year we like doubled his revenue. And that was kind of at the beginning of Google and SEO, and I kind of learned that
What years
for
were you talking right now?
what's that?
What years were you talking right there?
This is early, I want to say like mid like 2008.
Okay. So during a downtime for most businesses, you are seeing a spike due to your website
Yeah,
creation.
2018, that hit, and then like 2009, it really started to turn around because I was able to get his website going and getting him found on Google for aquarium maintenance. And so he would come up at that. And then at that time, I learned from a friend of mine that was my old roommate. He was doing SEO for a major company, and so he taught me, and so I kind of learned from there. And so we were able to double his revenue in like a year. And I go, wow, if I can do this for him, like a little light bulb moment happened. So I like, well, if I can do this for this guy, I can do this for other businesses. And so that's where GK Media, which is later going to become Local Lenz AI, was born. And so I started going around, and also, frankly, Long Beach stuff. And so I own Long Beach stuff, social media, Instagram, Facebook group, and then the website longbeachstuff.com. That's been around since like 2000, say 12, I think, somewhere in that area, 2012. And the reason I started that, and it's funny, it's even worse nowadays with people getting called for SEO marketing calls. But I would roll into a business. I would go up and down Second Street, Fourth Street. I did a lot of businesses on Fourth Street. Anywhere I could find, just walk in and say, "Hey, would you like a free review of your business?" And then I would take bought a little Canon camera, so I look all professional. And I go take some pictures, talk to the owner, and then I go, by the way, I do websites and SEO work. Would do you feel like doing some marketing? So I get my foot in the door and build a relationship first, and not just try to hard sell them on marketing. And that's how I kind of got started until I went to more word of mouth. And now I'm like slammed. I have a ton of work. And so I don't have to go out and do that thing with Long Beach stuff anymore, but I still use it as a tool. But mainly at Long Beach stuff now is my way of giving back to the community by showcasing small businesses. I'm
It's called
very,
Long Beach stuff now.
yeah, Long Beach stuff. So if you,
Long Beach
you,
stuff.
you have Instagram, I think we just went over 90,000 followers on Instagram.
Nice.
It's been around forever. I collaborate a lot with a lot of local influencers, just to help grow them and show, I'm kind of like the old guy that, gets all these young guys that are doing all the food Instagram and stuff and kind of help them. And they still, they're outgrowing me now, but they still like to do collab posts with me and stuff like that. And I like it because I feel it puts a spotlight on these small businesses and
Mhm.
especially restaurants. It's so hard to be in the restaurant business, and they need all the help they can get. And
Yeah.
so I like spotlighting small. I'm a big believer in the shop small thing. That's why I'm president of the Small Business Council for the chamber. That's why I have Long Beach stuff and help promote small businesses. And that's why with my marketing company, I focus a lot on small businesses and help them and have prices that are affordable. And I work with the SBA. I work with the nonprofit partnership. I've been doing a lot more work with nonprofits too lately. But I feel, which in my terms, I treat nonprofits just like small. To me, they are a small business. Just because they say nonprofit, it's a small business too.
It's
And
just
so
the tax. It's just a tax. It's a different tax bracket, right?
just different tax. But I mean, as far as marketing and functions and what they do, it's run very similar to a small business. So, you know,
I want to back up a second.
sure.
For some of these novice people that might be listening to you talk, uh, SEO. Tell us what that stands for.
So SEO, I've been doing SEO for the last 15 years, and it stands for search engine optimization. And basically, that's it. and it's really exciting times right now. I've been doing it for so long, it's hard to get me super excited about this stuff, but now I'm really excited because SEO is kind of going away, and I don't know what we'll end up calling it, if it's AEO or AI optimization, whatever acronym or name you want to give it. In the last couple years, and it's really going to change. Like every month, it changes more and more. But it used to be where you type in pizza, best pizza restaurant near me, and into Google, and then it would come up with 10 blue links, and you would probably pick the first couple. Now it's during what happens is you type into Google, what's the best restaurant for me? And then Google's AI will go out and search all this stuff and then come back with one, maybe three answers. That's it. And so my company's job is to make sure that you're one of those three or that one that's recommended by AI. And so that's kind of what I live and breathe is everything AI and getting small businesses recommended if it's by an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude, or is it by Google AI overview search? That's really what we focus on with my company.
So how does one do that? How do you put a company up in the AI search?
There's a ton of different ways. It's kind of like cooking like a gumbo or something. There's a bunch of secret spices and stuff that I use, but the basic principle is it's all about authority and user experience because you always look at Google or whatever AI as they want to give the best possible result to their customer. Otherwise, if they give them crappy results, you're going to stop using. Like if I use ChatGPT and I'm out looking, doing research for a vacation or a dentist, whatever it can be, and I'm getting crappy results, like I get, oh, this dentist was horrible. Why would you recommend this person? Then I'm going to stop using your product. So it's in their best interest, Google's best interest, ChatGPT, whoever, they give the user the best results possible. So the question becomes is my job is, well, how do they do that? How does that algorithm work and do that? Is it by how many reviews they have? Partially, yes. How many Google reviews, how many Yelp reviews? Have they gotten any awards? What certification? Like if I'm looking to hire a contractor, does he have his license? Has he won any awards? Did he get best press telegram? Did he get a house award? Um, does he have all the certifications? That if I want to do electrical work, do they have all their correct certifications? So what AI is doing is very smartly will go through and scan all this stuff and come back and then compute it and then give you your results. So it's my job to make sure that you have all the things that you need so that you come up in those results.
Mm, that's fascinating work. With AI growing so rapidly, where do you see the role of what you do and people in that industry going? I mean, get to get to the point where they don't need a human being to do this? Where do you see it coming?
Um, well, some of my colleagues are kind of scared of that. There's always going to be I think there's going to be room for people like me as consultants. I use AI as a tool, and if you don't know how to use the tool correctly, you're not going to get the same results. Yes, anybody can open up Claude and type in, make my website rank on Google, and then it will give them basic steps. But if everybody's kind of doing the same thing, you got to have, that's where consultants come in and we do that little extra or tweak the thing so that you do, because not everybody can rank number one on Google. Only one person can, and so if AI is doing it for everybody, there's still, if there's 10,000 plumbers, you still want to be that top three in plumbers. So I think there's always going to be room for consultants like me. AI is a tool. It's not going to take over everything. You just use it as a tool. It helps me get better and do if used properly.
Where do you see AI and the role of everything in like 10 years from now? What do you think the
Oh
AI is going to
gosh. I
be
mean,
made of?
you don't even have to go that far. I would go 5 years from now,
Okay.
even three. I think in five is we're going to it's going to be tremendously advancements in the next 5 years. I feel more and more people are going to have AI agents. So, you go back to being the comic book nerd I am. Jarvis with Iron Man, right? And you go through and he has kind of like an AI personal assistant, and you just talk to it. So it's like everybody's basically going to have a personal assistant, and it's going to be like, hey, can you go book tickets to Hawaii for me? I'm thinking about this date, and then it will cross-check your calendar and everything and do all that stuff. Go in, book it all for you. I mean, you're really just going to have a personal, think of everybody having their own personal assistant. That's what AI is going to be. And to build websites not for people anymore. We're going to build websites for AI agents. And so it's not, it's not so much how is your website optimized for conversions and does it look pretty and look that. It's not going to come down to that. It's really going to come down to the AI agents scanning it and say, okay, is this a good fit for my person? And then bring it back to them and give them recommendations. Already in the last year, clicks to websites have dropped by 50% because of AI overview. And so I think that number is only going to go up. Who has time? It's like if I don't have, before when you were researching a trip or something, I love to travel, so I'll go research a trip, right? And you're on all these different websites, YouTube channels, all this stuff, trying to figure out where I want to go on this trip. Well, now it's you don't have to do that anymore. AI will go out and do that for you. It will do all the research. That's basically what it, will do for you. Come back with recommendations and you just give it feedback and then you kind of create your list like that. I mean, a lot of that's already happening. I think it's just going to be double down, triple down in the next 5 years.
So, with knowing all that, what are like some good professions for like, your daughter and people coming up younger that want to get in the workforce, knowing that technology, AI is going to be the future, already is now. Um, what would you say are good professions to get into that will, be able to not eliminate the human experience?
Well, Anthropic just came out with a list of like the top jobs that they think are going to really take a hit by AI, but I feel like you know, it will be really interesting, maybe not 5 years now, but 10 years from now, definitely how advanced the robots go. Because a lot of people will say, well, the trades will be fine. Anything that's manual labor, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, all that should be fine, go into the trades. But I'm not so sure about that, 10, 15 years from now, if they can get these, if you see the Optimus robot from Tesla, if those things start learning how to do plumbing and stuff, I mean, they could go after those jobs for sure. But what first comes to mind is anything that's like data entry. Obviously, that's going to go right away. It's already being used for that. Writing, a lot of times, although there's a lot of AI slop. I think that's just going to get better as we go along. But there still need to be consultants to kind of look over the writing. Because a lot of people are kind of abusing the writing, and you could just tell. Like I can tell if I look on the site, and I'm like, okay, that was completely written by ChatGPT. I can tell right away. Some people can't, but I just deal with this stuff so much, I can tell. Graphic design, I know a lot of younger people or a lot of people are getting turned off by what we call AI slop, and it has that kind of look to it too, where you can tell right away someone did a flyer and it was completely AI done, kind of thing. And so it's nice for the artist to be able to come back and do that. And I think there'll be a niche for that. Not everybody is going to want that, and maybe the want artists to kind of come back and do that stuff, and maybe they'll even double down on that, like hand drawn stuff, and they don't want necessarily AI stuff. So, but to answer your question, I don't think any job is 100% safe. The obvious ones is anything that has to do with like computer data entry. That stuff should easily go to AI. But even some of the trade stuff, who knows 10, 15 years from now, if the robots come in and they can do that kind of stuff, why not? I've already seen them doing different construction jobs, like robots, in China doing different construction jobs. So it's pretty crazy. But, the question is, where do we go from there? Do we go into like, you know, universal income? Do we, there's all kind, people will be out of work from this. Where do those people do? How can we evolve as a human race with this new technology? I don't really have the answers to that. I don't know, but it's still exciting. It's scary and exciting to me, you know.
But the one thing that that I've learned through history on technology, there's always that fear because it's the unknown.
Right,
But more times than not, it's created more opportunity than it's lost, and
right,
that could very well be the case with AI. I know one thing to be true. There will be jobs that'll be opened up that haven't even been created yet due to
right.
AI. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but because of AI, there will be a job that humans will have to do because of AI that wouldn't have been right now due to the advancements of AI. That's
I'm
happened time and
I'm with
time
you
again.
with I'm with you with that, Paul. I'm very optimistic about stuff. I know a lot of people are upset about AI with the environmental impact of it and the use of water for cooling the data centers, but I also feel like AI can be kind of a key on the way out of that and find new ways to do that because that's kind of like the old technology of way of doing things with data centers. I feel like there's going to be new breeds of data centers that don't require such a huge energy resources. And so like so I'm optimistic for that. I know there's a couple ideas floating around on that of ways to do that where it's not such an energy suck. And so I'm hopeful that we'll see that in the near future.
So kind of getting back to you and what you do for the small business. If you had a small business company or person come to you and say, "Hey, what small changes can I make? I don't have all crazy money. What small changes can I make to optimize my footprint on the internet and various social media platforms?"
So I always do offer for anybody. It doesn't matter if you use me or not. I will do a free audit of your website and online presence and see, and give you a detailed report of what you can do, both on your website and what we call offsite SEO or, other things. So we take a snapshot of everything, like a local snapshot, and then go into detail about what I see, what can be improved on and stuff like that. I mean, some of the top ones that I always see is they don't have individual service pages. They just have one service page and list everything that they do, and it's just not optimized correctly. So little things like that are easy fixes to give more content and tell the AI what you do in detail, and in that way it will push you more traffic and hopefully get that phone ringing.
Right on. Now, but you're also not only are you in business and you've been in business for a long time, doing your thing, being busy, word of mouth, creating marketing strategies for all these small businesses, but you also give back to the community. So talk a little bit about the stuff that you do through the community, through the Long Beach Rotary, through the City of Commerce or Long Beach City of Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, rather,
Chamber of
all the
Commerce, yeah.
other stuff that you do.
So yeah, I'm uh, Long Beach Rotarian, one of my favorite nonprofits in the city. Great bunch of people. I really enjoy being part of that as you are too, as a fellow Rotarian. The fantastic group. They really make um, a lot of changes in the city. If it's from like feeding the future, where they, help stock the food pantry at both the colleges, the city and Cal State Long Beach, or is it, they do once a year, they buy bikes for a whole, I think like third grade or second grade class and give everybody bikes. They have more scholarships to the Long Beach colleges than I think than any other group. I mean, they do a lot of fantastic work. So Rotary, very proud to be a Long Beach Rotarian. Great bunch of people. I took a little hiatus from that for about a couple years, and then I came back. And they woke me. To say they woke me back in open arms is an understatement. So super stoked on being back in Rotary and being active with that. The Long Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, great organization. I was able to kind of get into my niche as the president of the Small Business Council because, again, I'm passionate about small businesses and helping promote small businesses in Long Beach. Uh, as you know, you're with the Signal Hill Chamber. You guys were partners with us for our latest biggest small business expo, which kind of showcases a bunch of small businesses, but also helps connect those owners to like city departments, Port of Long Beach, SBA, things like that. So I felt that was, not only getting them leads, but getting them connections and stuff within the city is very important. I'm very proud of that event that we do twice a year. And then some of the other things that we do at the Small Business Council is we do lunch and learn programs on different variety of different topics, anything from marketing to insurance to taxes, everything that is kind of like a toolkit for small business owners for what they need to know and how to operate a small business in Long Beach. The other thing I do, I'm involved with Long Beach Gives, which I think is a great organization. If anybody doesn't know, Long Beach Gives, they have one day a year where they have hundreds of nonprofits and they raise so much money for all these nonprofits. And I think that's a great organization. So I'm very happy to be on their steering committee and helping them out with their marketing. The other thing I do, and this one's close to me, is one of my old mentors was Fred Kamar. And if you grew up in the shore or knew that, you might have known him from Alfredo's Beach Club. He used to have all the different snack shacks on the beach and the pier and all that stuff. And he started Moonlight Movies on the beach. He also did the castle competition that used to go on. That's been gone. He used to do a tiki festival. We did the pirate invasion right there on the pier and in the beach and all these things. So he had all these really fun festivals that he created himself. And Moonlight Movies on the Beach was one of them. And Fred passed several years ago. And when he passed, his daughter and I was already helping him with movies quite a bit at that time. And so I kind of went into the role with his daughter and we became partners on that. I know a lot of people think it's a city event. It's not a city event. Movies on the beach is not a city. Maybe the movies in the parks is done by the city, the Parks and Rec, but we have no affiliation with the city. Now, we do get sponsors from some city departments at times. The Port of Long Beach is usually a really good sponsor. This year, LBS Financial came in as a presenting sponsor. But again, I read some comments last week that they thought this was a city event and that the city needs to do more movies. And they're like, they used to do 15 movies and now they're down to 6. And I go, yep, it's all because of money. We can only get so many sponsorships, and the price of each movie keeps going up every year. It goes up like 10, 15%, sometimes even more every year. And people don't understand how much those movies cost. They're completely free to the public, and I will not change that. Some people say, well, you should charge. Well, the problem with that is as soon as I start charging for that, the movie rights company will start charging me a lot more money. They want a split on all the tickets. I think they get 50% of every ticket that's sold. So it's really not that much of an advantage to start. It's not like we're going to get a huge amount of money by charging admission. Also, you'd have to fence it off.
Yeah.
It'd just be a headache. Years, and it's a summer tradition. Why make it a ticketed event? It just becomes more of a headache. So I want to keep it free. Me and Jesse always talked about it. We always want to make that free. And the cost of that, porta potties, right? Go try to rent a porta potty, see how much that is. People think this stuff is cheap. I mean, we're in 2026. It's not cheap. Uh, Storing the movie equipment, hauling the moving equipment from the storage and setting it up on the beach. I have a team of about 4 to 5 people there from 4 o'clock, and then they're there to midnight taking it down. And it's not like I just have them, set up and leave. They have to sit there and watch it. People are like, well, why don't you use volunteers? Well, I can't have volunteers moving around hundreds of pounds of equipment. The liability is nuts. And then you want me to have volunteers working the movie projector? I don't even know how to work the movie projector. I hire a company to come in and work the movie projector for us. We used to have a guy there, and he passed away. His name was Joe, and he passed away. And since then, we've had a company that specializes comes in and does the movie projector, so I don't have to worry about it. The worst thing, I get a call at night, movie's not running, and so it stresses me out. So it makes me go to bed easier knowing that it's handled by a professional and it's taken care of. So we have the staff there. And then we also clean up the beach afterwards. We go through and make sure that we comb through the sand, clean everything up, and try to get rid of any trash. We want to leave it, the way we found it, as clean as possible. And then, so we have the movie equipment, the movie equipment, the porta potties. We have to have multiple dumpsters that are expensive. Three different dumpsters that we're required by the city to have. The city permits are go up every year, and we have to have the city permits. Um, the movie rights. So the show of this movie. So say our first movie is what is our first movie? Oh, Jurassic Park. So the original Jurassic Park, not one, two, three, or five, whatever number they're on. The original first Jurassic Park, which I feel is a classic Spielberg movie, is the first movie, and the rights to that movie alone was $800. So, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars per movie. And so I would love to be able to show 12, 15 movies and everybody, and show it a couple times, down there at Granada Beach, or we tried it at the city colleges for a while. I would love to show more movies. It's just really tough now because sponsors have, what we were getting before in sponsors has been cut almost in half, if not more. They're going a different direction. They used to give us a nice, cover everything, and I would get a title sponsor and we're good to go. Now they want to sponsor a bunch of little programs, which is, I think, is, you can't fault them for that. They want to help out a bunch of little people. So they give out smaller amounts of sponsorship money to everybody instead of just a couple big events. Unfortunately for us, that means we have to cut back our movie schedule. We don't want to get rid of it, but we want to do something. So we found that, we're able to do the 6 movies, and it's really just math. If I raise this amount of money in sponsorships, this is how many movies I can do. And that's basically it. And then this year, the cost went up even more because everybody's like, Kris, we can't hear the damn movies. I can't hear the movies. Get better sound system, get better speakers. So we're adding 2 more bigger speakers and pushing it out. So we'll have multiple speakers going back. I think we'll have, don't quote me on this. I think we'll have 6 speakers. All I know is we're adding 2 more speakers. And so hopefully that will help out with the sound problem because we get such a huge crowd. I mean, this is such a popular event. I mean, we get 4,000 people at this event. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the drone pictures, but it is just a sea of people. So I always tell people, get there early. I am making sure that they're showing closed captions on all movies, so at least you can read it if you can't hear it 100%. But if you get there early, you'll get good seats. It's just the thing. If you show up late, you're going to be way in the back, and it's just not, it is what it is. But super stoked that we still are able to do it. I've gone this year. I went even a little harder. We try to do more cult classics, 80s movies, stuff like that. First time I didn't do any cartoons or Disney movies, and I know some parents are kind of a little upset with that. I promise you next year I'll add one in. It was just kind of a, last minute thing. I was like, you know what? We're just going to go with these 6 that I picked. I'm super excited to show Lost Boys. Never been able to show that before. I think that's going to be a really cool one. It's on the beach. It kind of fits, before, because that's up north on the beach, that whole thing. So super excited about that movie. But yeah, that's the kind of thing with movies on the beach is I just don't think people understand that it's not a city event. It costs a lot of money to produce, and we're tied to how many sponsorships we get. And a lot of these places, we're kind of like a 1-2 man show. Me and Jesse kind of, do this. I help get sponsorships for that, but I'm running a full-time business. And I'm people's families depend on me in this business. It's something I love and makes me scared about my business, because if I have, my plumbing company and all of a sudden their phones stop ringing, then they have to start laying off employees and they don't get a paycheck. And so I have that responsibility. all the time. So would I am I saying, I want to make sure that all my clients are 110% taken care of, and then I do this other stuff with Movies on the Beach as an extra way to give back to the community. But I don't have all the time in the day to go out and call every single company and get more and more sponsorships. I wish I had a whole like a team that can do that for me, but we just don't have that bandwidth or that personnel. So we just kind of all these years I just been trying to build up relationships and get what I can and kind of and get it going. But we just don't have the time to chase all these sponsorships down. So it's kind of a double-edged sword on that too. So
A lot to unpack there. So first off,
yes,
what are the dates of the series?
yes. Let me bring that up. I think let's see. Okay. So the first one is June 23rd is Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Then we have June 30th, The Breakfast Club. And then July 14th, we have Mean Girls, which I always toyed around with letting people pick movies. I gave them a choice. I think it was Mean Girls, Goonies, and Back to the Future, and Mean Girls won the vote. So they
Wow.
got in. So yeah, people want to see. And I listen to people like before I pick the movies, I always do a post. I go, "What movies do you guys want to see this summer?"
Well, I
And
wonder what the demo a lot of I would you said Back to what was it Back to the Future, Goonies, and Mean Girls. So I
Mean
would say
Girls.
a little bit of younger demographic and probably swayed female.
Yeah, yeah. And then Lost Boys, I just wanted to show that I haven't, I always try to put a new movie I haven't showed before. And so I'm excited for Lost Boys, first time showing that at Movies on the Beach. Then
When's
we
the
have
date
A
on that
League of
one?
Their Own. Oh, and then Lost Boys is, I'm sorry, is July 21st.
Okay.
And then August 4th, we have A League of Their Own. Great movie, Tom Hanks.
Hmm.
Um, you know, And then finally our last one is August 18th is Grease Sing Along. The only reason that one we showed last year, but it was overwhelmingly picked again the show. So I want to give people what they want, and everybody asked for that movie again. So I'm like, okay, fine. If you guys want to see it again, we'll show it again. So
Yeah,
I try
nothing
not to
wrong with.
show the same thing over and over again, but everybody wanted to see Grease. So I'm like, okay, we'll show
Yeah.
Grease.
Well, the people who love Grease have seen Grease tens and thousands of times.
Right,
So
right.
I don't think that bothers that crowd. They just want to come and sing along to the movie. So I think that you'll be fine there.
Yeah.
But I do have a question for you. You talked about the cost, you talked about the sponsorship, and you lowering it to six, and with the cost of everything, which makes total sense. Totally understand it. Makes total sense why it costs a lot of money, and you keep it free, and that's quite a cool thing. But you know, you're it seems like it's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to save it, meaning the cost of it is going to get so great that the numbers don't pencil out. So, I mean, do you think there's an expiration date on this?
I don't know. It almost happened. I mean, I'm sure a lot of your viewers remember, I think it was not last summer, but the summer before. Um, I made the announcement, no movies on the beach this year. And honestly, it was a little bit of a PR stunt because I wanted to see if any sponsor, I was trying to create an environment, full cards on the court. I was trying to create an environment for someone to come in and save the day because we were just short money. And I was like, you know what? I'm not, the year before we kind of took a loss on it. And I go, this year, I just can't do that. I can't be in the red on it. And so we did that. I made the announcement on it. And then the mayor, you know, everybody was like, oh, da 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 da, but I wasn't getting any calls. And I was literally on the air in an Uber on my way to LAX to go on vacation because my wife's a teacher. We always go on vacation in the summer. So we're on our way to our family trip vacation. And Mayor Rex called me. He's like, what do you need? I'm getting my phone's ringing off the hook. What do you need to get this going? I'm like, Rex, what it always comes down to money. You know, you give me the money, we'll put the movies on, So we worked out a deal, and then the that's the thing. The mayor's office doesn't really have money, or at least they tell me they don't have money. I don't know. I'm not a politician. But they were able to get other people to sponsor. And so they worked out. I worked with their office. They were great, and they went out and found us the money, which it was fantastic. I just don't. I To answer your question, it will come at a time that unfortunately, but maybe I we bring in somebody else or I step down because I'm working with this and at some point maybe it gets passed on to another production company and they have the resources and the people, power to go out and get this kind of stuff done. I do this out more of a love to my community. I'm not, people are like, "Oh, you're trying to make money." I'm like, "No, I don't make any money off movies on the beach. I do it for the love of the community and to keep the vision of Fred Kamar, who was a very close friend of mine, alive. I feel like he had a vision for the Long Beach waterfront, and I feel like movies on the beach is was a big part of that vision. And if you go out there on a summer night, when right before we're showing the movies, I mean, the vibe is just community. We don't have any like crazy stuff going on. It's just families and community and people just vibing and having picnic dinners and kids running around and playing. And it's just a cool summer Long Beach tradition. And that's why I do it, is that right there. Not Definitely not for the money. There's no money in it. All the money goes straight out. As soon as we get it, it goes straight out to all the stuff that we have to do.
You kind of answered the question that I was going to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When it's all said and done, with you doing the Moonlight movies on the beach, when it's all said, what do you want that legacy to look like for you and the community?
Well, I hope I mean, if I'm done with it and decide to move on, I hope someone takes it on and keeps it free. That's the one thing. And then keeps it a little bit, I've been fortunate enough that I picked most of the movies for the last 14 years. And I feel like I've done it. I'm sure there's a ton of people out there that disagree with me, and that's the cool thing about the internet. Everybody has an opinion. But, I try to make it a little different than movies on the park because, movies on the park, they're all over. They do a great time with Parks and Rec, and they're all over Long Beach. There's one in Signal Hill. There's, El Dorado Parks. There's all these movies in the parks. Heck, the Queen Mary's doing movies, right? Everybody's doing all these movies in the park, and they're very, very family friendly. And I think that's great. And I still try to be somewhat family friendly, but they're not showing, I'm a Gen X, right? And so I want the show, those John Hughes films. I want to show those cult classics. I don't necessarily need to show the Toy Story 10, Uh, not saying that there isn't a place for that, but I let those guys kind of carry that and be that. There's a lot of millennials and Gen Xers like me and that want to bring their kids and show them what movie, I watched DT when I was little and I want to share this with you. It's still a great movie, you know. And one could even argue with some of the crap that Hollywood's been putting out recently. Those are kind of like the really cool movies, So I like showing a little bit older movies and a little more culty. And I like to take chances on movies, and sometimes it flops, sometimes it doesn't do well, and sometimes it does fantastic. We've been showing Goonies for so long, and this is one of the first times that I didn't show Goonies, but everybody just loves coming to see Goonies. Um, and just stuff like that, 80s, 90s movies, you know. And I always toyed with the idea of even showing like doing a poll for all the movies and just let everybody just pick them and I don't have to worry about it. But I kind of got off track there. So to answer your question is to keep it free, keep it going, and don't carbon copy the or cut and paste what movies in the park is. Be your own thing because I feel people appreciate that we show some of the cult favorites.
Well, I can feel your passion. It's definitely a passion piece for you. But I also feel, is there a lot of people that give you a lot of pushback with this? It sounds like,
I'm just hypersensitive. That's
okay.
why I read the comments and I get it. I'm not cut out for a social media influencer. I don't know how some of my friends do it. But yeah, there's always, but out of like thousands of people that see it and comment. There's only a couple comments, but I read them all, and I try to do the best. I try to do the best for her, but like I'm just a little bit too. I need to have a stronger will with that some of that stuff. I want to make people happy. I want people to enjoy it, and I know no matter what I put out there, there's always going to be at least 3 or 4 people that are not going to like it. So
Well, and
you just have to
also
live.
with that being said, when you're looking at these comments, and I know you know this, but there's a difference between somebody trolling you and somebody giving you
Right,
criticism, honest criticism, and that's what you have to look at. This
right,
person's trolling me. I'm just going to throw that out. But if somebody has legitimate criticism that will benefit the movie or the experience, then that's something you could take to heart and if you can implement it. But yeah, I think
100%.
you're gonna drive yourself
I need to be
crazy.
better at that. Is not playing with the trolls. So yeah.
What's that?
I need to be better with leaving the trolls alone and
Yeah.
taking those to heart. We do. I mean, I heard it loud and clear. People were saying, "Hey, we can't hear the movies. Can you get better speakers?" And so I talked to my tech guy and I said, "Hey, we're getting this complaint. What can we do?" And he goes, "I go, can we add more speakers?" And and he's like, "Yeah, we can add more speakers." I'm like, "Do it." How much does that cost? Okay, I'm gonna go out and raise this much more money than what my projections were so that I can cover speakers. And I was able to do that. And my sponsors are great. I went out and we have LBS Financial who's coming a title sponsor. And I told them, I'm like, hey, people are complaining about the sound. Can you help us rent more speakers? And they did. They're like, okay, cool. Yeah, boom. And then also with Dawn Temple Storage, they've been a longtime supporter. They do so much for the community, I think goes under the radar, but they came in big and helped finance like the other half of the speaker. So between LBS Financial and Don Temple, and then of course the Port of Long Beach always has been a long time supporter of Movies on the Beach, and we're very thankful for them. So those are our and then finally our don't want to forget my sponsors because they'll get mad at me. Christina Dugan's office. So council member Christina Dugan, she always helps support Movies on the Beach. It's in her district. It just makes sense. So really happy with that. So those are my 4 sponsors. And what I tell people is when you come out to Movies on the Beach, if you see one of the sponsors have their 10 by 10 set up or anything, follow them on social media. Tell them that you saw us at Movies on the Beach. Let them know. Thank them. Just come up and say thank you for sponsoring Movies on the Beach. That's what we need because without the sponsors, there's no movies on the beach. So instead of buying a $20 ticket to the movies, take 20 steps up to the 10 by 10 and say, thank you for sponsoring Movies on the Beach. And that's your price of admission. And that would help that makes it so much easier next year when I go around and say, hey, can you sponsor Movies on the Beach? And they're like, yeah, so many people came up and thanked us. The community really liked us. So, if you can't do it there in person, comment on their social media and say, thank you for sponsoring Movies on the Beach. Those things really help us. So, if I get one thing from this podcast, if you can do that, that'd be awesome.
We covered quite a bit here. Is there anything that you want to address to the audience that we haven't talked about?
Um, yes, if you're a small business owner and you're worried about AI search or any of that, go to my website, local lens AI. It's LOCALLENZ.ai, local lens with a Z, and sign up for one of my free audits. I will do a free audit, and if you can't, I do consulting work, which is a lot more affordable for small businesses, where I tell you what's wrong and then you go do it, and then we meet and we keep working that way. Or I have my agency do everything for you. If you're busy and you just want to do that, obviously there are different prices. Or if you just want to report and see where I'm at, for your own reference, I'll give that to you for free. The other thing as a small business is join the chamber. If it's the Signal Hill Chamber or the Long Beach area chamber, chamber can help you in so many different ways and networking, navigating the city, all those things. It's fantastic. Reach out to your chamber. They have a ton of resources for small businesses. Get involved with your chamber if you're a new small business, 100%. Movies on the Beach. I look forward to seeing everybody out there. Um, It's a Long Beach summer tradition. Like I said, just tell the sponsors that you're thankful for them sponsoring, and that will keep movies on the beach going. And thank you guys. I read all the comments. Be constructive. Don't troll me. I will continue to try to make it as long as I can. And when it's time to pass the torch on that, I will make sure that they know the tradition and the history of movies, and hopefully they keep moving it forward in the same direction, or actually make it better. I always, any event that I always want to make it just a little bit better. So hopefully when it is time to pass the torch at some point, they can make it better and keep it going. But it's such a great event. I think it's like I said, a Long Beach tradition, and I'm super proud to have been part of it, all these years, and to take on that legacy from Fred Gamar and work with his daughter, Jessie. So super proud on that. That's about it, though. I feel like I just talked way too much.
It's
It
okay,
is a
Kris.
podcast.
But before I let you go, I always like to end with a fun question. You were born and raised in Long Beach. You hung out in the shore. I know you got some spots for me, man. Tell me some places to eat in town.
Okay, well, I'm a big sushi guy. I love sushi. I started out way back in the day at Naples Sushi. Then I, got introduced there. So I don't know if you remember that place over
Yes, I do.
Naples Sushi. Great, huge sushi bar, fantastic restaurant. It was totally sad when they left. Um, then I was over at Sushi Studio for a long time. I was in my 20s, and it's more of a party kind of place, and a lot of sake bombs going on there. Then went to Awesome Sushi for a while, continued the party pretty hard over at Awesome Sushi.
Where was
Um,
Awesome Sushi at?
Awesome Sushi's still going. It's over on Clark and Wello, I want to say. Right next to like a smog place of all things. But
Oh,
great.
yes, 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 yes. I know exactly where it's
Yeah, I
at.
still love Awesome Sushi. I just, my liver doesn't. So and the owners still remember me from my 20s and even early 30s, and they're always like, "Have a drink of sake." And I'm like, "I don't drink that much anymore of it." They're like, "Yeah, come on, Kris." So I'll go there once in a while when I think I can handle it. But they're a great, great team over there. Still love Awesome Sushi, but my go-to sushi place right now is they kind of remodeled. It went through some. I don't know if it went through change of ownership or new management or whatever, but it's called Yumi Sushi. It's close to my house. It's on Spring and Palo Verde, so it's really easy for us to get over there. And they do fantastic rolls, and the fish is really fresh. So it's YUME Sushi,
So
and
I know that area really, really well. So is that over by the Supermex?
yes, right next door to Supermix.
Okay.
It's like Supermix, LBS Financial, and then Yumi Sushi. So great spot. The vibe in there is really cool. I like how they decorated it. I just love the spot. It's our go-to sushi place. I still migrate kind of around. I was at in La Salle for a while, Kumpai Sushi. I liked them for a while, and every couple of years I kind of migrate to a new one. But right now for me and in the family, my daughter, unfortunately for my bank account, loves sushi just as much as I do, and so she eats a ton with me. And then after sushi, I skip the mochi ice cream and I go right down Palo Verde to Seaside Creamery. And that is my favorite ice cream shop in Long Beach right now. That's my daughter's a connoisseur of sushi, and my wife is a connoisseur of ice cream. And so her favorite ice
Palo
cream
Verde and
shop,
what?
God, I want to say Atherton
Palo
or
Verde.
Stearns.
Okay, so that's over
It's right by
by the Taco Bell?
where's the Carpenter Center on? What is that? Is that
Oh, there's a Kiko's. Isn't there a Kik? There's a
Yeah, yeah.
Kiko's.
It's a catty corner from there. So it's a little shopping center, and
Oh,
there's
with the
like,
pizza, where Pizza Mania is.
yeah, the pizza is, yeah. It's right
Okay.
next to that. So
Okay, so it's right.
Seaside Creamery,
It backs up to Long Beach State, basically.
yes, 100%. Right by
Okay.
the Carver Center in Long Beach State. They have a new location they just opened on 4th Street, but the one I go to is because it's close to my house is the one on Palos Verdes. They have a fantastic in-house made waffle cone. I'm a big waffle cone fan, and they have good coffee ice cream, which really like too. And so great ice cream spot. So those are my two. If I had the perfect night, it would be Yumi Sushi and then uh Seaside Creamy. Now I have one more for you for date night, and I'll say the name wrong. La Antica on 2nd Street.
Hmm.
I think we talked about this once before.
Yeah.
I love their Napoleon pizza there. It's the same movie, uh, restaurant from the movie Eat. I think it's Eat, Pray, Love, where she has the amazing pizza in Italy. They're from Italy. It's fantastic pizza. My wife and I love to go there and share a pizza, have a glass of wine. Maybe they have a really good some salads and stuff. It's really good. I really enjoy that, but I like that type of pizza. So the Napoleon type of pizza, that's the kind of like I love that spot. So if you're looking for a nice, cool date night spot, the Lantica down on Second Street, great place.
One
So
last
those are
question
it.
before I let you go. What's your go-to roll? What's your go-to sushi roll?
Gold to sushi roll. At Yumi, it would be the salmon belly bombs. They do like a kind of like a melted butter on top of it with salmon, and it's kind of seared a little bit. Oh, it's fantastic.
You're making me hungry. I think after I do this podcast, I think I'm gonna have to go down and get some sushi.
There you go. Well,
Kris, it's
thank you
been a
so much.
pleasure talking with you. I can feel your passion through the screen right now about your work and about movies on the beach. Keep up the great work, my friend, and I know I'll be talking to you very soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Paul. I appreciate it.
It's been a Long Beach thing.